Two, one. Hey guys, it's Tom for the AoStation, and Noah's here today. Actually, he
Yo.
came back this week, and today we're going to be covering Dota 2, League of Legends, and Heroes of Newerth. Unfortunately, there isn't much news coming out for Dota 1, or for Bloodline Champions, or for any of the other games we cover. So we're just going to be covering those three games today. But I think we have enough information, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, we got a fair amount, enough to talk about anyways. Nothing huge, but enough to mention.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess the first thing we're going to be going over is Dota 2. There was a patch recently that came out, which released Invoker, which is a very, very popular Dota 1 hero, excuse me. He's popular mainly because he is so hard to play. He's so interesting. He's not your average, you know, three abilities in an ultimate hero. Basically, how he works is his three abilities are like, how would you explain it? They're kind of like charges. Um,
Um, probably a better kind of nerdy uh, analogy would be their components.
okay.
Like he has to put them, mix components together to produce certain results, kind of deal.
Yeah, and so pretty much what he does is he has his three abilities, and he combines. They're kind of like buffs, and he combines those together. And when he casts his ultimate, which is Invoke, he creates a spell. And so pretty much he has six spells going on at any time. He has his three basic. No, not six. Yeah, six. He has his three basic abilities. Sorry, I can't count. He has his three basic abilities, and then he has his ultimate, which is Invoke, and his two abilities that he creates with Invoke. And he can get his ultimate Invoke at level 2. And when you level his Invoke, it lowers the cooldown and it lowers the mana cost, and it increases the amount of spells you can create with it up to 2. So he's a very interesting hero. I'm glad they put him in the game because he's a lot of fun, and he was kind of like one of those heroes that you couldn't get anywhere else. There's a lot of similarities between heroes in the AOS genre, but Invoker was uniquely Dota, so I'm glad they put him in.
And he was unlike so many heroes we see now or champions or whatever game you're playing, where they have a lot of jack of all trades, master of none. He was literally a jack of all trades, master of all. If you knew how to play him, you could fulfill any role necessary. It's
Mm,
not like, oh, he's kind of good at DPS and he's kind of good at nuking and he can heal a little bit, but he like sucks at all of them. He was like actually good at all
mm,
of them
I
if you did it
agree.
right.
He was very good at both, pretty much every role he took. He could almost be a hard carry when with Cold Snap, which stuns people every time they take damage. You
Yep,
could build like
and
attack
Helmet
speed and
Dominator. Helmet
stun
Dominator
people,
was big on him too.
and you get his little minions and they lower armor. So you could be like a semi carry, hard carry. You could be a nuker with his nuke spells. You could be a support with all his CC and his invisibility move. You could build him a bunch of different ways. He's a very interesting hero to play, so I'm glad he's in there. What else is in the patch notes? They fixed a bunch of stuff. Fixed. Oh, and they added Aghanim Scepter's effect on Tiny, where he picks up a tree and he gives him cleave.
Oh yeah,
They added
I forgot
that.
about that happening in Dota 1.
Yep. Uh,
I think they could stand to put the effect on other heroes that it makes more sense on, but
yeah, I really wish they expanded that to like a universal thing, so it's not just some characters. But
yeah, and just I mean like they did a good job. They did a good job. Yeah, did a good job on Tiny when it like gives him a separate effect as opposed to gives it more damage and a lower cooldown. Like it's good, but it's kind of lame.
hmm,
It's not. It's better when it adds an effect, in my opinion.
yeah. Well, I guess that just goes to show how not to make it sound bad, but how unfinished Dota is. It's definitely a game in progress. I don't think it'll ever end. Uh, I
I
really
mean,
doubt.
yeah,
I
because if
really,
they're gonna keep patching it, then it's never technically finished
yeah, I really doubt that they'll ever actually finish Dota, which is good because it means it's always going to be adapting and evolving, and
until BattleNet takes their Warcraft servers down.
well, or until Valve. But yeah, it really doesn't seem to be anything else that they've necessarily added. They've changed a lot of stuff and fixed a lot of stuff, but nothing necessarily game breaking. So that was short. I guess we're going to be going on to the next game, League of Legends, which is
Okay.
once again not much has happened, but recently they've had this kind of initiative to get rid of evasion in the game because they thought it was such a powerful defensive stat. and it was really only useful for a couple heroes and with a couple items. And one of those heroes was Jax. So when they removed evasion, they had to remake Jax because that was pretty much his what he was all based around. So I have up right now the patch notes for how they changed Jax. Um, they changed his passive. What his passive used to be is that every time he, I forget exactly, but every time he got stats from an item, it gave him like tankiness and damage.
Yep.
Like he pretty much got more stats from items than anyone else. Um,
Yeah, and for like having stats gave him more stats, so it was
yeah,
really easy to like cap out and be ridiculous on him.
yeah. Well, now his new passive is every time he attacks, he gains attack speed. So he'll just be attacking and attacking and attacking, kind of like Beastmaster from Dota. Or actually, they removed that from Beastmaster. Now that's on Troll Warlord. But yeah, that just shows how old we are when it comes to Dota. We're not actually that old.
We are old.
um, well, for an 8-year-old game, being 20 is kind of old, but whatever. Um, Leap Strike is obviously is pretty much the same because that had nothing to do with evasion.
I believe
Uh,
they like lowered the cooldown on Empower, didn't they? So that it because people would only use it in conjunction with the
yeah,
leap.
they
So
they
they made
cha-
it so that you can use it more. Like you can use it separate from the leap. You don't have to combo the two, which was like pretty much how you play Jax, like his bread and butter kind of deal.
Yeah, they changed it so it's much more of a all the time kind of ability. They also gave it that special thing that they've been doing with every ability, which is that it now affect it resets your attack cooldown or your attack timer so that
Yep.
it pretty much gives you a free attack when you use it,
If
which
you
is
use it at the right time, you can get two attacks in the space of one kind of deal,
yeah,
without
yeah.
any cooldown in between both
They've
attacks.
they've been doing that a lot with a lot of abilities. So I mean, obviously it makes sense to do it here, and they also reduced the mana cost. I didn't even know he used mana, but and the big thing that they did was they remade Counter Strike, which makes sense because that was his ability that increased his evasion, and every time he evaded, he gave him an ability to stun everyone around him, right?
Yep.
Well, now what it does is it's a channel ability that makes him dodge all incoming attacks for 1.5 seconds. At the end of the effect, he deals damage um, and stuns nearby enemies. So it's kind of like what's that guy's name? What's like a Galio's ultimate? It's kind of like that, except instead of taunting everyone around him, it just makes him gives him 100% evasion.
But does he do damage based on how much he evades, or is it just flat? Because Galio
Uh,
is based on the incoming damage
yeah. Well,
he
what
takes while taunting.
what it does is it deals a flat 160 MX level damage plus a percentage of his attack power, and an additional 30 damage for each attack dodged. So it's not necessarily a 1-to-1 ratio based on the damage he takes. It's just the more times he's attacked, the more damage he deals.
Right.
It's not like if you hit him with a powerful attack, it's gonna hit you back with the same power, but it's the more attacks. So I guess that's a
Or at
lot.
least it gives it more of a skill cap too, because before it was literally stack dodge runes and Ninja
Yeah,
Tabi, and then
you
just like
actually
hope
have to
you
use the ability
dodge.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
You couldn't just run around stunning everyone forever and like living through ridiculous things based
and
on getting like that last second lucky dodge.
and it makes him a lot less of a passive character. So that's interesting. And his ultimate, I don't think they changed at all. No, they didn't really change it much.
There's not much need to. It wasn't really dodge based.
Yeah, it wasn't really dodge based. So that's basically what they did to him. And I'm actually really happy with this because I never really liked passives. I mean, I like passives, but I don't like passive evasion because evasion
Yeah,
is
well, and he was super autopilot. Like you'd
yeah.
empower leap into a fight and then just kind of right click around.
Mm.
You didn't really have any. You didn't have to like be on top of casting things. Like I don't want all the few people who like play LOL that watch this show to be like, yeah, your Jax takes a lot of skill. He really doesn't. Like I'm sorry. He's. I mean now he does, but prior to this change, Jax was very autopilot.
Yeah.
Very.
Well,
You
that
know,
brings up the question: is are they going to go back and change? I know that nobody else really had anything to do with evasion, but are they going to go back and change a bunch of heroes that are autopilot, a bunch of heroes that are based around passives that don't really?
I wouldn't count on it. I don't think they even would have changed Jax until they were faced with dodge being ridiculous.
Okay, well, let's hope. I guess hope for the future. But
Law doesn't have a future.
in this patch, so much hate. In this patch, they didn't really do much else. I know there's a lot of stuff on the screen right now, but that's just like little things that I don't care about. I don't think anybody else does
Cosmetic
either.
stuff probably. Like, oh, they released a ton of skins. Because they
Well, I
do.
mean, for example, they fixed a bug with magic chains on Xerath. But who plays Xerath? I don't know.
Nobody,
Yeah.
nobody played Zera.
So there you go. He's kind of well. That's pretty much it for League of Legends. So I guess now we're going to go on to Heroes of New Earth, which just so happens to be the game that Noah plays the most. Am I right?
Yeah,
Uh, uh,
yeah, I played a
okay.
little bit
Well,
of.
then here we go. Big thing on campus is today that they released a new hero last Friday, right?
Yep,
Yep. And his
yep.
name is Gravekeeper. So we're gonna go over his abilities real quick, and then you can tell us what you think about him. I think he's brilliant. His first ability is Corpse Toss, where he throws a corpse at an enemy, pretty much, and it deals damage and stuns. Right? Yep.
Yep, it doesn't
And
have ammo though. Like you don't need to have a corpse to use it.
you don't.
It'll create a corpse on use, but it doesn't require one to be used.
Oh, okay. So yeah, when you throw it, it does create a corpse at the target's location. And then Corpse Explosion detonates all corpses within the area to deal magic damage, which is cool. Uh, his third is Defiling Touch, which picks up a corpse to throw instead of your regular attack, and with that, it deals extra bonus damage and slows the target. But it also leaves a corpse at the target's feet as well. And his ultimate is Zombie Apocalypse, which summons a ton of zombies around the location, and they deal damage, they attack or explode. I guess that's like a 50-50 chance. They're uncontrollable and they're wait, are they untargetable?
No,
Okay, so
they can be targeted.
okay, they are targeted. And they have a fair amount of health. They have 650 health. That's crazy at max level. That's a lot
Yeah,
of health.
you're mostly relying on them to like expire more than
Okay.
you are for them to be killed.
Okay. Well, so you bought him on Friday. What do you think? You've played enough games with him to give us a little bit of a. Because personally, I think he's a brilliant design, but I obviously haven't played with him. I haven't played it in a while.
I mean, his design is good. Like on paper, the concept is really fantastic. I like it. I like that they did more with the corpse thing. I didn't want it to just be him gathering corpses. I'm glad that his abilities create them because otherwise he would just be, situation specific heroes are never good. And I don't mean situation specific as in like counter picks, but I mean like this hero won't work well unless this condition is met.
Mm,
That's not great design. So I'm glad that they didn't make that mistake with him.
okay.
But he also the role they seem to kind of sell him as, like a Nuki support kind of deal. They although under the early access thing they call him like tanky physical, which is weird. I don't really get that, but he's sold in like the spotlight and on the forums mostly as a Nuki support. But he doesn't deal much magic damage, so him having that role doesn't make much sense. Like spell shards on him won't do much. He doesn't need the magic armor reduction. Cooldown reduction could be nice, I guess, but it doesn't make sense. And like that's like your traditional nuker item. Like you get that if you're a nuker
Mm-hmm.
because that's spells more damage, blah blah.
Yep.
But on him, he's like got a really good base int gain. I think it's 3.0 per game for level, which is actually fairly good. But he needs to be kind of built as like a DPS kind of thing. And I don't mean tanky DPS. I mean like DPS, like physical damage. And I don't want people to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to build him as a hard carry and then people will call me a noob. Or better yet, you will go build him as a hard carry, build him badly, and then feed everyone. Everyone will hate you. But he does need physical damage to scale into late game at all. His early and mid game are very strong, but he has no late game. Like, no late game. I don't mean like he's less effective. He's not in late game. His ult is counterable by push stick, which in any decent tier game will be bought by a support, or even phase boots, and people will just walk out. So getting the usage of his ult down is really difficult because people will almost always have a way out of it. And you need to like, when people are juking you, it's good to use because then they get trapped not only on the zombies, which they can path through if they phase boots, but on like the terrain and stuff. So if they're going through trees and you pop it in the middle of the trees, that can be pretty neat.
Okay.
Its cast range is really low too, which is kind of, I guess it makes it kind of more balanced. So you can't be like Geomancer and like hide in the woods and pop out this huge thing far away. You have to be almost on top of them to get it off. So that can be, that puts you in harm's way, and you are squishy. Gravekeeper is squishy. If they focus you, they will just destroy you.
Okay. So what you say you should build him hard carry to make him at all relevant. Do you say like so you say he's squishy as well. Do you think he's like a like a defensive hard carry, kind of like Corrupted Disciple, or just full out auto
You
attack
can go
damage
defensive,
build?
but more appropriately, you should get either force or like push stick because you need to get it. You need to get away. You need to initiate. You need something to help you move because he doesn't have any of those abilities. Or you can get shroud, which has been a pretty popular pickup that I use too because it caters to the whole carry thing. Don't upgrade into Genjiro. That would be weird because it doesn't have agility. But it's definitely good because it's an escape. You can initiate. You can pop your ult right on top of people. Like they won't see you. You can be like, "Lol, there's zombies," or you can pop your ult and then leave or
Okay.
whatever. So that's generally a pretty good pickup.
Mm.
You do want caster items on him. Like you do want like Hellflower. You do want Coldra Sheepstick. Just because he does need the int for damage, and you do want to get something that helps your team. Like even though he kind of plays like a hard carry inadvertently, he's not actually a hard carry. You do have a role to fulfill for your team that isn't carrying the game.
Okay.
So you don't want to disregard the fact that you are ultimately a caster. You do want to pick up things that will disable. You don't want to just be like, oh, look at me, man, I built like Savage Mace, which I actually saw one dude do, and like he bowled faces really hard early, but then like late game people just destroyed him because he had no CC. So
Yeah, it's gonna catch up with you because obviously he's a caster, not a hard
yeah,
carry. Someone
yeah.
like Void. What's his name? Kronos. Yeah, someone like Kronos would out carry him easily. Okay, so
Yep.
my question would be, um, oh, that was one of my questions. Do his zombies are they affected by auras? Would you build him like an aura guy? Would you get a bunch
Um,
of auras on him?
I don't know if they're affected by ours. I don't think they are. I know you can like plated greaves them. Pushing is like the second most viable. It's probably the first viable option. Like you shouldn't instead of going hard carry, you should probably go pusher if you have a good lineup.
Okay.
If you're in pubs, you might as well just go carry
Yeah.
because
Yeah, but the game's not balanced around pubs, right?
right,
So.
yeah. But his
Woo.
biggest role would probably be pushing because you can take down towers fairly easily. The problem being his zombies can't be directed. Like one of the ideas that people want implemented is like Defiler's ult, where you attack something and his ult goes after it, because you can pop it on a tower and it'll do decent damage. But as soon as a creep wave or an enemy hero comes across, half of your zombies are going to peel off and leave.
Okay.
So like it's really people can literally counter your pushing power by showing up and then bringing half of your horde away.
Hmm.
And that I forget to talk about like the other probably most important thing, corpse explosion. I think it only 9 corpses max.
I think it was 6. I think I read 6. But
6.
yeah.
I know it caps at 540 damage,
Okay.
which is
Well, that's kind
pretty
of
big.
lame.
Yeah, but the biggest problem with that is you're not going to have that many corpses in a place. Like people aren't going to fight you in creep waves. It's really good early game if you're mid versus melee, like they kind of showcase in the spotlight, because they run in to get last hits. They're forced into the creep wave,
Mm.
so you can hurt them with corpses. But outside of that, people aren't going to fight you in creep waves. And even if they do, you probably won't have. You'd have to have like all of like in a whole wave dead, and
Yeah.
that's just probably not going to happen because by the time some of the creep wave has died, the rest of the corpses already disappeared.
Okay.
And so it's not really that practical. You can say like you can use this Q and defile to like bring corpses together, but you'll only be able to put like 3 corpses max at someone's feet, and that's not a lot of damage. It's not a lot of damage. And his ult, my biggest problem, go back to his ult, but it also goes in with corpse explosion, is that his zombies will chase things, and people aren't going to stand still and like let zombies rail them. So when they do die, their corpses are scattered. So you usually can't, like the idea being, oh, you encapsulate them in zombies, and then when all the zombies are dead and the person's in the middle, like, oh, I killed all the zombies, then you pop corpse explosion, like,
Yeah,
wipe
yeah,
them.
yeah.
But that
That's
won't
not
happen.
really effective.
They'll die in like a line,
I hear
and you
you.
won't be able to get all of the zombies in together.
Okay.
And so that's one of his big like synergetic things that kind of just doesn't deliver at all.
Okay, well, I have a question.
He's fun. He's fun. He's really fun, but
Yeah.
definitely needs a touch up for
Okay.
sure.
Well, you were talking before about how Balfagor would be a good pickup to lane with him. Do you have any other ideas? Like, obviously he's a good pusher, so maybe like a
Um,
push team like
similar to
Tree.
Balfagor, I don't know if this would work. I'll have to try this later. But Demented Shaman, if Demented Shaman can heal his zombies, then that would be
Oh
huge.
my God. I
Could
didn't
surround
think about
people
that.
like because that's what's a really
Oh,
good lane pickup
Jesus.
is Balfagor or Disham.
Uh-huh.
You surround them with Balfagor minions, but forget Balfagor minions. You have all the zombies.
Mhm.
So if that works, that could be a pretty huge pickup. I
That
don't know
would
if that,
be insane.
yeah, I'm
That would
not
be
I'm not totally sure to what extent his zombies can be affected,
yeah,
but
that'd
that
be
would
amazing.
should test that. That would be good.
Okay, well, He looks like a very interesting hero. We'll
He's
see
fun.
if he's
He's fun.
actually.
I feel like they've been rushing things out without really testing them.
Okay.
Either that or the public test realm's not doing its job very well.
Yeah, well,
Because while like even Artesia and stuff, while they haven't been bad heroes,
they just
they're
look
not.
unfinished.
Yeah, they don't play as intended. In my opinion, they don't seem to play as intended.
Okay. Well, let's look at the rest of the patch notes, which are very small.
They released
Significant. Uh,
skins,
yes,
and they
they released Gravekeeper and his alternate skin as well as Gypsy Fade.
yep, Gypsy Fate is linked to different Shinigami Gravekeeper is basically for those of you who know Dark Souls, Demon Souls. I always get confused. The newer one, Gravekeeper Nito is what it's based on, like big dude in a cloak with a skeleton face and like skeletons inside of him and stuff. It's good, like it looks cool, but it makes your collision size larger and you're easier to target and is actually kind of detrimental to play. So
That doesn't sound good at all.
yeah, that wasn't really a well thought out implementation. While it looks cool, it's not good if it, sacrifices playing ability. That doesn't make sense. And they increased the size of the Soul's Blessing taunt, or not Soul's Blessing, just Soul's Fist of Soul and Dumpster. So
Oh,
that's like
oh yeah, yeah.
things because the Fist of Soul was like itty bitty, and now it's big and there's blood, and the Dumpster taunt says Dumpstered Kid. So
Well,
further improving the community.
by the way, on the screen right now is the Shinigami um, concept art, excuse me, and that's the concept art for the Gravekeeper himself. So, if you're interested, those two are right there. So, back to the notes. There are actually notes here, but there's very little.
They didn't do too much. They changed Gemini again.
Yeah, they
You
changed the
can
UI
interrupt.
as well.
Yeah, you can interrupt Fire and Ice on him, which is kind of big. But as it says here, he's undergoing extensive balance changes because he is ridiculous. Like
Hmm.
he's not a fair hero, and I don't even say that as like a you mad kind of thing because I don't fight Gemini very often.
You mad?
He's statistically bull.
Mm.
You shouldn't be able to play him the way he can be played,
He's
and
just the best character in the game right now.
yep. Well,
Okay.
I wouldn't say that, but he's definitely with the least effort because like you don't need to be able to micro to be good at him.
Oh yeah, you just grab them and
I
use them as one
I am
character.
the worst microer in the world,
Okay.
so he's
Um,
doing a lot of balance changes. Thankfully,
they
they keep
fixed
telling.
a bunch of stuff, and that's pretty much it.
Yep, they keep alluding a big balance patch should be on the horizon. They talk about it a lot. I know some changes, including more Gemini changes, and they're going to do something to Helm of the Black Legion because it's viewed as too strong all game. Like you can sit on a Helm of the Black Legion all game, and if you get it early on, you're pretty much indestructible without focus and like heavy CC on you. And then you can continue to use that to be pretty tanky throughout the game. And they don't want Helm of the Black Legion to be like the diver's helmet pickup of like infinite victory.
That's actually a very good analogy.
So they're gonna change that. They haven't really said much about what, but you can assume it's a nerf
Okay.
or at least a change of some sort. So I think that'll be good personally. Too many people pick it up and are just like and just don't die.
Yeah. Okay, well, now that the news is done, we can go on to the most important thing, obviously, which is the Dota 2 beta key announcement. Just so you guys know, last week we announced that we were going to be giving away a Dota 2 beta key to one of our subscribers, and we will follow through with that. Um, but just a little funny little story. Today I have a personal blog, but today I released a video on my personal blog, but I accidentally released it on this channel instead. And it was up for like roughly 5 seconds. I noticed it, I deleted it as soon as possible. But even in those 5 seconds, we had one comment on the video which pretty much said, "Where the hell's my Dota 2 beta key?" And here it is, except my phone's ringing. Damn it.
I mean, in a way, it's good because we know that people watch the channel if they
Mm,
stalk it
that's
and
true.
just like in those 5 seconds saw it in their live feed and were like, oh man, I need to comment on this. So while I don't know if it was the best of comments, at least we get them
It's
in a
true.
in a swift manner.
Well, let's make this quick. Make this as graceful as possible. The winner for the Dota 2 beta key, or at least the first one, is dun dun dun, Grotlant. And the information will be sent to you via private message on YouTube. You guys should get that, or you should get that by tonight at least. And I hope to see you guys online.
You can
But on that note, I will be creating a video soon about how to increase your chances to get into the Dota 2 beta. Um, because obviously I don't have beta keys for everyone, but there is good news. We might have two more beta keys coming in by February, and that's from an inside source friend of ours. So we might be, if we do get those, we will be giving them away to other subscribers as well. So that should be good.
and
I
you can
hope.
play with me and Tom. It'll be
Yes,
good, and I'll
yes,
probably
and
kill.
Grotland.
Yes.
We can all play together. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys had a wonderful week, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week this week as well. We will see you guys next Monday.
Yep.
Yep. See you guys.
Peace.